the Abnormal, Strange, and Weird podcast, a show dedicated to all such things and everything in between. Now sit back and relax and join us as we talk about weird shit. How do you do there? How's it going?
We're doing it.
You like that one? Is it how do you do there? What did I do last week? It was something chipper. I don't know what it was. I think, well, no, because I did it for like the first 6. I was like, well, hello there. And then, anyways, I'm Patrick Dyer. That's Amanda Geezy. Welcome to the Abnormal, Strange, and Weird podcast. Go to aswcast.com for all our content. Well, this week we were going to talk about ghouls and such. And then you turned me on to, what is it called? Surviving Death? Is that the name of it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so it kind of ties in with the ghouls, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, let me start off with, it gave me incredible amounts of anxiety.
Oh, did it?
Oh, my God. I don't
Because
even...
you only watched episode 4.
Well, but still, just the whole, it just gets your brain going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that episode was about the signs from your past loved ones.
Yeah.
And they focused on that couple who lost their child, and they were so skeptical. They're like, physics and... and I'm like, I love this. Like, I'm rooting for them the whole episode. I'm like, give them a sign. And then, straight up, she's like, I smelled him in my kitchen.
You're giving me goosebumps right now. I don't like talking about it. I don't like it.
It was like years that they didn't get any signs. And, oh God, what was the husband was like, it could have been my kid. I forget what he was saying happened. But he's like, but I'm a skeptic. So there's that doubt there.
Well, and for me, I'm definitely in this subject pretty skeptical.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be, because I think part of the anxiety is I don't know. For whatever it is, this last year, death has scared the shit out of me. I've never had.
Past year.
Yeah, I just haven't thought about it like I do all of a sudden. I used to be at peace with death, and now I'm like, I don't want to fucking die. Fuck this shit.
Yeah, wait a minute.
You know what I mean? The more I think about
older.
it, yeah, the time flies by. And you know what really pisses me off is, I've been to tons of funerals, and, we cater a lot of funerals at my job, and they moved on like a minute after you're gone. They could give a fuck less. Not in all cases. And that was my other qualm is I hope I never have somebody that I miss as badly as those people did. You know what I mean? Because it seems like torture, absolute torture, to lose a child or a husband or, unexpectedly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that just gave me grief the entire show.
Those 2 parents that lost their kid.
Oh, it was intense.
Like the kid a tree fell on him.
Yeah, how does that just...
And he was pinned and he suffocated.
It's awful.
He 2 other boys standing on either side of him, and a tree flattened him.
Yeah, goodness. Talk about just horrible luck. Oof. Could you imagine? And they said it was like 100-foot tall tree or something, right? And it landed just on that one gentleman. And he was young too, right?
15. Ugh. Final destination status.
No shit. Well, and so, I just, the 2 sides of it, no one's seen it, was, the skeptic is like, you're looking so hard to see anything as a sign. But then some people take it to the next step and they want a specific sign, or something they talked about previous to death, and then that happens, and then, totally blows the door open for those people.
The cardinal?
That was weird, yeah.
These sisters were talking about, they had this conversation with their mom, come to us as a cardinal, or bring a card. That is the symbol. We need to hear from you. They're preparing for her death in a way that so many people are afraid to do nowadays. Once death left the home, people began to put it outside of their minds and their whole life process. When it used to be something you you worked through as a family.
Well, yeah, it was definitely. Well, I guess maybe that's goes on to my point. Is our lives are so busy and things are so scattered. Somebody passes away and it's just like back then. You're right. That person was a huge part of the family. You know, the death rituals were a lot longer. Now we just go throw them in a refrigerator,
In
and
a
then
home and then the refrigerator, and we
yeah,
burn them.
I kind of embrace the home if it's under my terms. I figure that's a good way. You know, you get to go and not worry about shit anymore and then just die. But if you're forced into there by your shitty family, that's a whole different story.
See, my dad was in quite a few and he was bounced around. And he had to wait and then apply because he had to do daily dialysis and,
Mm,
has to have the specific equipment. And he went to shitholes
yeah.
and he was mistreated in quite a few. And I had to threaten to call an ambulance once on them because they wouldn't call one for him.
Oh
After
wow.
breaking his hip, they're like, he didn't break it. And I walk in there and he's screaming and um
That's awful.
it was terrible. It was
Like
uh
why?
I want to talk more about my dad though later because I feel like he comes through to me hard.
You want to wait till later? Not now.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you were just about to talk and then
Oh no 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 no.
I wanted to get back to the cardinal lady
Well, I
for
was just
crying out
gonna
loud.
say but in my weird dream is I go in there free will, no sickness, this and that, and it's just me and like hanging out with a bunch of old people. That's not a lot of the case a lot of the time. When I find
The one up here where
that's where my grandparents were. Yeah,
right. Me and my kids volunteered up there. It's gorgeous.
that's very nice. Well, same
Gorgeous. It's
thing. I
like
mean,
it's like a resort.
well, that's what I was
They
gonna
have a
say. You can
cafe.
spend tons of money and you're still not gonna get better care. You know, it looks nicer.
I
So
don't know. That yeah, no,
you know
it
what I
was a
mean.
much nicer
Oh
spot.
well, and I my some of my other family has been in some of those shittier rehab centers and stuff, so I've seen both sides for sure.
hmm Yeah, it's brutal.
But yeah, so yeah, the cardinal. So this cardinal like runs into the window, right? And like these two sisters are sitting there, and so they go outside and they're like, "Holy shit, a cardinal!" And that cardinals aren't typical in that area, right?
Right.
And so they pick up the cardinal. It's just like hanging out in their hand, and then when they try to get rid of it, it just keeps coming back to them,
hmm
which I thought was pretty intense too.
Yeah.
So anybody out there, watch Surviving Death if you can make it through it. I only watched
Yeah.
episode 4. See, I started watching it before, and I got out of it, and you got me back in. Was because some of those mediums.
Yeah, I didn't
Is it?
watch those two episodes. There's like two parts. I feel like I need to, but I didn't. I'm
Some of that. Well, just this lady. She just like flipped into a British accent. It was the worst British accent, and was like it just seemed like she was trolling.
yeah.
It really did.
The ones that seek to get on TV, I feel like are the ones that are gonna
Well, and that's what I
blow
was
it
going to
for
ask you. How
everybody.
many? I actually wrote it down. How many people do you think of these mediums are actually just taking advantage? I think it's probably a pretty high number.
Anyone that you can see, I don't know, like in on TV.
Yeah,
I feel like that there's too much that muddies up the transaction there, even if there was a legit medium, like it wouldn't happen on camera in that sense. I don't feel like it would.
yeah. Lights, camera, all the pressure, and the data these days. You could find, especially if you're good at it and pay for certain databases, you could find just about anything on people,
So I
except for
wonder if you've
personal
ever heard of this guy,
experiences.
and I'm trying to think of his name. But he was gifted something. I don't know where he lived. Um, China or Japan or something.
Mm,
And he could use his hand as a hammer and like drive a nail into wood.
sure, I've
He
seen a couple
could
people do that. That's nuts.
well, there's a like oh man. And then he started doing it on camera.
Hmm.
And then he ended up stabbing himself through the hand.
Oh,
It
interesting.
wasn't just that though. There was a whole bunch of like supernatural shit he could do.
Hmm.
Um but then once he started flaunting it, like he was removed to that gift in
Interesting.
a painful way.
So you think it was more? It was taken away from him.
Yes.
Interesting. Or do you think it was the distraction that caused that?
Which is how those things play out, I think.
Sure.
Yeah, we direct our own lives for sure.
Yeah.
But the higher you get in conscious level, I believe you're a bigger and bigger drop in the soup. You know what I mean? Until you become the soup,
Sure.
in a sense.
Well, and I'll do. I will say that I do believe, your energy lives on one way or another. That's just physics. Just like you
Hmm.
said, those people, it's just how it is.
Yeah,
But what that
you
is,
can't
or
destroy energy,
yeah, and
and
we've
you
talked
can't
about
you
it.
can't measure consciousness. So it has to kind of. I feel like it necessarily
And that's what.
insinuates that shit is one and the same
Oh, definitely. What
in one.
terrifies me because you can't measure consciousness. Say you are dead, buried in the ground. Who knows how long you actually are in there, wherever. You know what I mean? So maybe that's why the Egyptians and whoever they started taking out all the organs. Maybe they were onto something.
Well, and they preserve the body through mummification because they felt like they need to be able to recognize their body
Mm-hmm.
in order to stay immortal. So if you leave a body here, you won't be given a new one.
Sure.
So you can stay in that spirit form.
Hmm.
And it's interesting that there were so many people buried, and then the shift went to cremation.
Yeah. Once again, I want to be cremated because to
The
me,
Hindis, the Hindis cremate because they're like our energy can't be. They knew that then, the physics of animation of bodies. Like there's energy there that
well, that's
needs to
what
exist for all those networks and for
well,
all the
that's what I
shits
mean.
to work.
It seems, at least in my feeble mind, that if you burn the body, then your energy is released. If it's not
Mhm.
released already, but then there's the people that say the second you die, your energy's gone. So I'm kind of in between on all of it.
See, and the Rosicrucians say you aren't alive until you take your first breath.
Hmm.
And then once you have that last breath,
Then that's that.
well,
I
that's
mean,
that
that's in that form.
as far as, but there was in the first episode, which you need to watch.
Hmm.
Um,
It's
she was
torture for
trapped
me.
in her kayak upside
Oh yeah,
down
you were telling me. Yeah.
in a waterfall, getting beat to shit for 30 minutes before her broken ass legs let her get unstuck and go down river. And then they
No
pulled
way.
her out and she came back.
Hmm.
And she was told when she was out of her body that her oldest son was going to die, not when. Oh, the way she describes peeling out of her body as well. Like I used to do that Merkaba meditation.
Mm-hmm.
That punched me in my face. Like my jaw dropped when I heard her say that.
What
Because I practiced this meditation supposed to bring on an out of body experience. And it felt like I peeled out of my body.
I remember you saying that before.
And as
Before
I
you
would
even
peel
watched it.
out, like I could feel my skin go dead.
One of the few or the first episodes we did, you talked about peeling out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My friend my friend came over and told me you have to watch this. And it was the middle story in the first episode. That's how I found
Hmm.
this series.
Well, and you just got me thinking that chick getting hit with the water in the kayak. You peel out of your body, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna send you back, but by the way, your kid's gonna die. Catch you later." What a
Yeah.
fucked up experience.
But it was so beautiful. And she's like, I didn't want to come back. She said when she
Well, when you
left her
find out your
body, all of a sudden
child's
she
gonna
was
pass, why would you want to come back?
right. It was a hellacious moment
What
to leave
happened
your
to the kid?
body.
Or did it happen yet?
Well, it happened when he was 18, and I think he was um adolescent at that point. Not It took a few years.
Hmm.
No, he was 21.
How did he
Shoot, what was
die?
he doing? I want to say a car accident, but I feel like it could have been like some kind of an accident.
Yeah. Hmm.
It wasn't like an illness or anything. I'm trying to think if it was like a skiing accident or something active.
Sure.
Anyway,
Well, either way, Jesus. It's
And she
awful.
was counting the years, but it gave her that time to celebrate his life. It was a gift in and of itself. Like, this is going to happen. Now
Did she ever
it could happen at
tell
any
her kid,
time.
or did
Yes,
she
she
did?
did.
Oh,
It took her years in order to tell him, but she felt like it was drawing closer. And she's like, I just want you to know that this is part of what happened.
you don't think she was just sitting at home drinking wine one night and he came home late and she was like, "You're gonna fucking die." Just to
Don't scare me like that. I thought you were already dead. Oh, I can imagine having those conversations with
I
my
keep getting
boys.
goosebumps. I don't know why. So maybe someone's here with me now.
Yeah, you keep talking about that.
Well, and you were talking about the scent that they smelled that child. I've talked about it on here before. I always smell my great grandma's perfume,
Yeah,
and it's
it's god
very
awful.
unique and not a good perfume. So that's when I smell it every time. I'm like, well, grandma's here. I don't know if it's true or not, but
See, and I've always been, I guess, open to. It feels weird saying spirits, but people, like,
well,
they're
spirit's
passed
just an
on.
energy, right?
My
Or is
When I
that
was a
different? Do you
kid,
think?
when I was, huh?
Well, I said spirit's just an energy, don't you think? Or you think that's different? Like,
It's
is
just
that
the
more of a
using the
conscious
word.
energy, maybe, rather than just, you know? I mean, because I can't say definitively, but do you think a single cell's conscious, like on an atomic level, or is it just that?
If it has a nucleus, maybe, who knows?
Yeah.
At a very specific, I don't know. That it seems very building block. Um,
So maybe just the.
but who knows? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, and people who always say stuff like certain animals don't feel, or
Yeah, that's so
it's
old.
like fuck you.
That's
Are
not
you
even real.
serious? Are you
That's
think this animal doesn't know it's around? Come on now. Go fuck
mhm.
yourself. That's what people say about fish. They don't
There's
even
a
get.
dog I follow on Instagram that pushes buttons and speaks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That
the
dog's an idiot. It
chatty.
don't know nothing.
Yeah,
I got
it's
this fucking
amazing.
customer that is bragging to me today that he's going to South Africa with his bow and arrow to kill animals. And I just made him. I was like, "Fuck you, dude. You suck." And he's never. I don't think anyone's ever told him he sucked before. I'm like, no,
Yeah,
fuck you, man. That's gross.
yeah.
Why? You're gonna spend 50 fucking grand to go just kill animals because it makes you feel like a better person?
What kind of animals?
I assume rare, exotic, fucking. That's the only reason anyone goes to South Africa or Africa. It's not to kill a deer, you know. Probably kill fucking big cats or something in one of those enclosures where they have nowhere to go. When he was leaving, I was like, I don't know if he heard me, and I was like, I hope a fucking either a lion kills you or an elephant steps on your ass, fucking prick.
They come charging.
And there's a huge difference between, you know, being desolate and need food, and then fucking actively going somewhere to kill something. That's awful to me. I don't agree with it personally.
You seen they do. I wonder if they still do them, but they had like helicopter tours where you can go shoot automatic weapons at pigs flying above
Oh,
their
really? Well,
herds.
I've seen them do that with wolves too.
Hmm.
They'll go all around the tundra and whatever, just shooting when it's white, so you can just see it running. And then they have a helicopter that scares them, and they just kill
Mm-hmm.
them.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Look what I did, Paul. I killed me a wolf. It's like, yeah. Those are the kind of people that you hope get stuck in their casket for a couple hundred years, just staring.
I wonder. I feel like that makes it so that you don't reincarnate.
Hmm, maybe. Maybe you do such hellacious things like serial killer or something. Yeah,
No, as a good thing. It's a good thing. So you stay in heaven at that point. Heaven.
yeah, that's what I mean. So maybe well, I guess you wouldn't go to heaven if you're killing everything. If there's
Well, I don't
separate
think
things.
there's that kind of judgment there.
No.
It's yeah, you judge yourself in a sense.
Sure.
And Horus or Osiris is the one who weighs your heart. in Egyptian mythology. I hate to say mythology and be
Mm.
disrespectful, but like Horus is supposed to be like the same as Jesus, the same son of God type archetype. But it feels like that's the step down. That's the level of Christ conscious where you are absolute one with all things, and you come to sacrifice your life for the pain of life or for the sins that you experience in this physical presence. And then when you get out of it, like I read this book by, and I've mentioned it before,
Mm.
Newton, I forget his first name, but he did hypnosis, thousands of hypnoses, and he brought, instead of people to past lives, he would bring them in between lives, and there was always people that greet you. And when you talked to, like they showed on that, maybe it was episode 5, where they talked to people who were dying, and a lot of it was nursing homes.
Hmm.
And they all said the same things my dad said. There was a soldier at my dad's door, and his mom was there, and a couple of his friends that had passed. And everybody was saying he's just delusional. He's hospital induced delirium. Like he's just talking. And I would listen, and I'm like, I hear him talking to others. Like I know kind of what's going on here. And but they were talking. Oh shit, I forgot where I was going with that. Okay, so when you died, like there's this committee there to welcome you through it and help you integrate what you lived for your next life. And
When
that's written out in astrology in your north node and south node.
we were kind of talking before, and you believe that each time you get a little farther ahead, and
Mhm.
then if
Or
you
you go
fuck
back.
up, yeah, I was gonna say if you fuck up, you go back.
And that's the hell of living today, is like you have to pay for your sins of your past life in this life. Like if you were horrendous,
So you think
you will
maybe,
come back and be abused.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
So you think maybe like that instance with the kid getting hit with the tree, you think it was the parents that fucked up or the kid that fucked up? Were they punishing the parents or
Or
on
maybe he
some
was
eternal
needed in his
level?
next life already. You know, if he
Mm,
wasn't like he seems, I feel like kids at that age are pretty innocent
yeah,
given the opportunity to live a decent life.
totally.
So I don't know, who's to say, and there's infinite possibility to it, like if you get to physics and how they're talking about discovering these dimensions. What do you say? There was only like 9 out that they've like measured, or so. Did you say that?
I don't think
Somebody
so.
else maybe.
But
No,
yeah, I've
okay.
heard something similar that they.
Like,
Well, I mean, you think about it, just 1D and on up.
right, we hold 2D lives in our hands,
Yeah. And like,
and it's
just we wouldn't be able to perceive each one very well. And they
mm,
believe uh, that a dimension could be just right on top of us, and we just have no idea. It could be a whole entire other society,
right,
and we
in
wouldn't
this
be able to
world
perceive it.
we can only see so much of the color spectrum, the
Mm-hmm.
light spectrum or whatever, and we can only hear a little fraction of this like this sound wave spectrum.
Yeah.
Is that the same word?
Sound wave spectrum? I think it's sound spectrum, right? I assume so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we can only feel down to a certain hertz or
mhm,
hear it. Typically, we can feel it farther below, but even
mhm.
when you hit a certain point, you can't even feel it. Or at least we don't know. Maybe somewhere in our brain we're feeling it.
Well, we're regardless, we are like transmitters and like translators of wave energy.
Sure.
So that
No.
we occupy bodies, like it seems to me too much like it's holographic. And when you get more into quantum physics and mechanics, like that's what you see.
Hmm.
The space between atoms and electrons is as vast as the space between stars.
Oh, yeah.
And that's like the fabric of our existence, which is just emptiness.
I used to be really into that stuff. I never wanted to study it like as a career, but I was always very interested.
Same.
And they're, finding new shit all the time. Shit we
Anything like that kind of shit helps me not feel crazy.
totally. I could see that.
So that's why I'm thirsty for it. Like other people's accounts and stuff, like whenever it affirms my own experience, like I tend to share it less, and that makes it easier to maintain relationships.
Sure.
to be to be honest,
Yeah. No, that
I
makes.
live in a magical fucking place. You know what I mean? So
Well, shit, even the stuff we talk about on here, I don't talk about with anyone else.
yeah,
Although I
and I would
project it
just
on the internet.
right.
I don't have these conversations with the closest people in my lives because I don't want either their judgment or
Hmm.
whatever else. I like my relationships as they are.
Yeah,
Each
yeah.
person's, you know, feeds a different part of ourselves, and that's all
I sure
right.
have been. I've been getting some really nice feedback, though.
Yeah,
That
that's
feels pretty
awesome.
good. I like that it's inspiring people to think about different things.
No, I think it's really awesome. I've enjoyed all the things you've showed me. People are pretty awesome.
Hmm. People, yeah, yeah, people are pretty awesome, but there's some shitty folks out there too.
Well, clearly, yeah. There was one tonight, motherfucker. Got me steamed right at the end of the night.
There's my puppy dog
I
making
just
an
keep
appearance.
seeing the head. I was like, you either have a shadow person, or there's a giant head poking over from a monster.
My bear. Ooh,
Oh,
you hear him?
yeah. But well, this prick, yeah, he came in right at the end of the night, and I asked him. I said hi 3 times. He completely ignored me. I was
Mm.
like, nah, you don't get to do that. And then he asked me about beer, and then he got all snippety about a certain beer he wanted. So I literally just grabbed the beer and I threw it on the ground and I walked away. It's like, I'm not
You-
fucking playing with you. Fuck you. And
yeah.
then he's like, I guess he didn't like me. I'm like, no, no, I didn't. Fuck you. A, just be nice to people. B, when you go to somewhere to get served, be extra nice.
What
And
if he
don't be
was
stupid.
deaf, dude?
Oh, he
What if
wasn't
he's
deaf.
deaf? Oh.
We actually have some deaf customers. They're some of my favorites.
Hmm.
Yeah.
No, no, no offense to the deaf community.
Well, either they're really good at just ignoring us. They're like, ah, nah, I can't hear.
Like my parents. Ugh. Oh, and I feel like too, it should be said that like the more you're hurt, the more you're open to these sorts of experiences. It's
Sure.
weird.
No, it
And like
makes.
there was that guy talking about how he would write. And that hit me too, because I write and write and write. Like it's compulsive for me. It has been a way to self-soothe for most of my life.
Sure.
Um, and sometimes I felt like messages came through to me that way from my
Mm.
pops mainly. And he was talking about how he was like, I'm just using this to cope. I'm journaling, I'm rambling. Um, but then there were some things that stood out to him. He's like, fuck, I don't know if I'm just projecting my hopes that he's gonna come through in this, if this is just me coddling myself or what have you. But then do you remember this?
Oh, yeah. I do.
So he was like, he asked a specific question. And they tell you at this retreat, they all went to this retreat in order to help them kind of open themselves up and build a bit of a ritual in order to be open and receptive to make contact with these their loved ones they were grieving.
Well, and this is the
Um,
one that was like, because he kept writing stuff and he thought it was just him. And then the guy was like, I'm red or something like that.
yeah.
And then all of a sudden a painting showed up.
He said specifically, give me something I can't deny.
Mm-hmm.
Like, give me something here that, and then, yeah, then a painting showed up. And the teacher who sent it, somebody's teacher, I forget,
Yeah.
was like, I don't know why I bought this. And it's coming to you. Like, she's like, this is just what's happening. And she had
Yeah.
no idea why.
When they said that certain color, the reddish magenta, was that of a soul leaving Earth or something like that, or a body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The aura or whatever of that energy. Yeah.
Yeah, that one was pretty weird to me, too. No, it's
Yep. I mean,
intense.
it's fucking
Yeah.
magic and how it can stretch through people to other people.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's interesting that you say that you have to be hurt. Because it's like one of those things where you've been defeated so much And then the next time you're like, I can't be defeated anymore. And then boom, you're like, holy shit, this is a whole nother. So I don't know if you're previously closing all that stuff off or what. But yeah, each time you get disappointed or whatever, it takes you down another level. And I can see that opening you up to other experiences.
I guess that all depends. I mean, we manifest a lot of experiences too. And if you consistently vibrate in a place of um, grief or loss or disappointment or just
Mm-hmm.
heartbreak, if you're just wallowing, like you're going to stay there. A body in motion will stay in motion.
Totally.
A body at rest, that is depression,
No,
I mean, and
definitely.
it's appropriate to grieve, but that's like ample opportunity for you to connect beyond the veil
Sure.
with that who you're grieving with. And more often than not, they're there to tell you like it's okay for you to move on and live. And like it's always a helpful. And from that book, that guy who went through all those hypnoses
I think that's right.
sessions,
Yeah.
plural, he would say that the soul would be superimposed. It can be anywhere. It'll leave a signature or what have you with one person who needs it or with whomever needs it while simultaneously going through the detox rituals that they do as like spirit clouds with their soul family or whatever.
Sure.
And then they go in and like do an inventory at start to finish and then plan out the next life. And like this is the earth school, and it's kind of exciting to know and to like I've always had kind of that knowledge, but there's so many people who don't, that are waking up to that. I feel like the veil is getting thinner and thinner.
Yeah, a
So
lot of it I certainly am not privy to. I'll admit it.
so
That's
there
my
was
own.
a
I
solar
mean,
eclipse today on a new moon.
oh, was there?
Yeah,
Hmm.
powerful stuff.
Is that why it was so hot today?
Well, it's
Just
probably
teasing.
why you were taking it so hard.
Oh, what a horrible day
Why
today.
your
Ah,
puppy was batshit.
Jesus. It was just one of those days.
You threw a beer on the floor, in fact.
Yeah. Well, then he fucking set me off. That's the thing I notice is I don't when I get set off anymore. Oh boy. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but I've been making changes in my life, so things are feeling better most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. Just not all the way yet. I don't know if you ever hit all the way, right?
Well, healing is cyclical.
Hmm.
If that's what you're doing, but then people, I think, get stuck in the healing process and then manifest more of what needs to heal. It's like sometimes you can just sit in peace and then
Yeah.
manifest more peace in your life. And that takes some practice, though, for sure.
Oh yeah. That's why
It's
those.
so hard to sit in meditation when you're not like scrolling your phone. But it's interesting that they put you in that state of meditation where you're most receptive and all you're doing is inundating yourself with social media and ads.
Yep. Well, some of those ads are good, like cheap paper towels or something, right?
I never see those ads.
Me neither.
They
Me
want me to
neither.
buy pricier stuff.
Oh, it was hilarious. I don't know. I was going through on our channel and subscribing to a bunch of people, trying to see if we could get some more subscriptions to
Cool.
other similar podcasts like us. And this ad popped up and was like, "Haven't you ever wished you had bigger testicles?" And I'm like, "What?"
Ooh,
I was like, "I don't think any man's ever said that before." It seems like
probably.
a. There's like, yeah, if you take this vitamin, your balls will get all big, and it was literally just like that cadence. It was just this fucking bro with his hat backwards. I'm like, who fucking made this thing, and who's buying this shit? What the fuck?
That's just your algorithm.
I guess. I wonder what I'm doing when I'm not aware. Fuck.
Was it spoofy, like telling you
No.
to like grab your balls and do so? Whoa, what if that was a message from your higher self?
Yeah,
I
maybe.
feel like those sometimes that's how messages get to us too. Songs or
Or ball commercials.
all ads.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that one I liked a lot though. That was pretty hilarious.
That sounds rad.
I wish it was fake though. Jesus Christ. Because there's idiots out there. Excuse me. I guess there is idiots out there like, damn, I wish my balls were so uncomfortably large.
I saw this weird show that was showing like abnormal folks, and this dude put silicone injections into his penis
Oh, I've seen that motherfucker.
till it was like a loaf of bread hanging off the front
Oh,
end.
it was weird and hideous. And was it functional? I can't remember.
Nope.
Yeah. No, I mean, not like for sexual. Can he still pee and stuff?
Whoa, I wonder if he had to like catheterize himself. I know it
Yeah.
turned into something nasty and medical. And he's like, I love it.
It's like you have to,
Sure you do.
because that's all you're gonna fucking deal with from now on. Jesus
Hey,
Christ.
that's what you're left with. You
I
might as
have
well
seen
be.
that. That was years ago when I saw that. That's nuts. It really
Mm-hmm.
does. That was a good description. It looked like a loaf of bread. That's awful. So imagine it. Ugh. You can't wear pants, or if you do, you
Wouldn't
just
he
look like an
like
idiot.
charge people to touch it? He did some kind of sex work. Oh, it just looked painful.
Ugh.
Poor guy. Just looked deflated.
That's like
Not
those
his
guys.
dick, but
Him as a
the,
person being
the
deflated.
rest of him.
Yeah. You're like, that's one of those things, like you get obsessed with it and then it happens. And
Oh
you're like,
man.
oh, well, that was a bad
Whoops.
idea. Jesus. That's like those idiots who do that stuff with their biceps and stuff. And their
Oh yeah.
pops open,
Yeah, they get abscesses and
get
shit.
horrible infections. Ugh.
They like let those. I've seen a couple of those dudes, like skinny, like 18-year-old, like pasty pale, with these huge fucking
Yeah.
guns and nothing, like a little tiny. It was, it's not a beer belly, but they're like adolescent.
Oh,
I've
shit.
seen a couple of those dudes fighting an MMA fighter
Mm,
in Russia or somewhere. Like,
fucking
what
crazy.
who let him do that? Who lied to him first and
Oh,
said you
yeah.
could do this?
That's one of the first things I think of whenever I see any of those abnormalities is, who are these people's friends? Oh, no. Maybe they're just good trolls. But
Fuck. Yeah, it was like a Don King Presents type.
if my buddy was doing that, I would just tell him how stupid they were. No problem.
You
I'm lucky I've
have
never had. I mean, everybody has some sort of body dysmorphia, but I don't think I've ever. I'm lucky I've never had it to extreme cases, you know? I couldn't imagine that shit. I even look back when I was like super fit. And in my mind at the time, I would think I was still fucking fat or whatever. It's just how it goes. Then you look back and you're like, damn, I was kind of AIDSy, wasn't I? I definitely was not,
Philadelphia.
yeah,
Oh man.
like you were even too skinny.
I look back. There's always a fondness when you look back on yourself. I try to keep that in mind too. I take pictures like, I don't know. Always looking back. And like I never saw my mom in any pictures either. I saw her in a few,
Sure,
but she was always the one. I don't know. They stopped taking pictures after we were like 2 and 3 or so.
sure.
And then it was like, and then we were in our teens and got our own cameras.
Yeah.
Got them disposable cameras.
And start
We
taking.
talk about those last time.
Yeah, one of these times we did.
Nervous about those.
Oh yeah, that's right. I found some film here that probably has bad things on it.
Ooh,
one of the
and because sorry.
No, go ahead.
Nope, go ahead.
Just somebody I know that was in to not so lawful things. I found some film, so I wonder if there's some evidence on there. We won't be developing those, that's for sure.
Not at Target.
Hmm.
So there was a part in this, I forget which episode it was. Maybe it was the 4th episode, the signs from, and he was taking Polaroid pictures. It has to be a Spectra camera.
Oh,
And
I
it
didn't
was
see
literally
that.
like they'd ask a question and it would come light, like somebody, not even like somebody did the flashlight in front, but there was like energy imprints and they've examined these Polaroids in the camera. And they started hosting parties at this house because it was a guy with the last name of Wright. It was the only way he identified himself. But they would ask questions. It would come out in writing.
Interesting. Like in the camera?
Yeah.
Huh.
On the Polaroids.
I didn't see that one at all.
Whoa.
So it must not have been 4.
Huh. Because, all right. Yeah, I sat through, maybe it was five as
Yeah.
well. What else did I say was on five? They all kind of like sat and binge watched it
Hmm.
last night, finished it up.
How many episodes were there?
Six. I'll probably watch the medium ones, but I'm going to be pissed the whole time.
Yeah. I just hate it when people take advantage. It's ridiculous, especially in that vulnerable state. That's not a good one to fuck with
And
people.
yeah, it ruins people's belief in their own messages from loved ones. And if you like there's people who say like I haven't lost anybody, or there's still you still have access to other like these other dimensions that aren't perceivable or perceptual to us. Doesn't
Yeah.
mean they don't exist.
Totally.
And we all do have ancestors and shit. And uh oh, let me tell you about this. So I went to Texas once. I think I
Mm-hmm.
may have told you about this. And I was like, it was weird too because it's Pampa, Texas, and we got snowed out down there. We went down there to do some work. My mom has land out there, and we were cleaning out the old farmhouse. And my dad came at that point. I had to drive his dialysate out in a separate vehicle because he had so many boxes. And
Oh wow.
anyway, didn't expect to get snowed in. So my parents are in this one bedroom apartment above a garage with me. Like we were all there. Got a little cramped. So I went to the farmhouse and I would like it was busted. There was bird shit everywhere and nests and,
Sure.
super old. Like the bones, we'd been tearing it apart for a while. The bones of this building, like the old slats and shit.
Sure.
My great, great, great whoever's settled Texas and it stayed in the family since then.
Sure.
So, and while we were cleaning it out, we found an old trunk and it was like the hope chest of a girl's daughter or my mom's like great aunt's daughter who died at 10.
Oh wow.
When we opened that, it was fucking spooky. And oh man, the clothes were pristine. Like there were
Hmm.
shoes and newspapers and incredible dolls with no eyes.
Hmm.
I have pictures of it. Anyway, so I go over there, I'm going to smoke some pot and like a cigarette or two. And I brought some incense and my candle. I got witchy with it and started meditating. It was snowing. I was just, irritated with my parents. And um, after all that, though, like I got up and walked around and I walked through where I had torn out a wall. And I all of a sudden got this sense that I had stepped through another timeline, kind of
Hmm.
like in my mind's eye only. And there was this energy presence who I spooked. Like I came and haunted her in her time.
Huh.
And like
That's interesting.
I was like, holy shit. It was incredible. Like I said, since I was a kid, I've had experiences where um ghosts have been a part of my reality. And this was different, though. That
Sure.
one was different.
It was the other way around.
It was
Huh. You never really hear that actually. I don't think I've ever heard that before.
like I tried to calm her down too. I'm like, it's okay, just sending like love into her timeline or whatever in her direction.
Hmm.
And just using like my imagination. Like if this is happening, I'm gonna like roll with it because that's I don't know. That's what I did. And she came, it felt like she came close to me and looked at me, but her energy came into mine so much, like I saw the shape of my own brains,
Hmm.
like in my imagination.
Sure.
There was no sight of this, but I could kind of see her. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, without my eyes, it wasn't because a lot of it I would close my eyes and try to like think thoughts to her. And
Hmm.
however I was able to communicate,
How
whether it
long?
worked or not, I was trying, and it seemed to.
How long do you think that experience lasted?
Like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Did it feel like 10 minutes, or did it feel
It,
longer?
it felt like time wasn't like that. You got to watch episode 1. All these people talking about their out of body experiences. It felt like stepping into that space.
Sure.
that kind of in
Well,
between.
time
I
doesn't.
left, like, time wasn't even a part of my.
Well, in physics, they prove that depending on gravity and speed, and time's different everywhere.
Mhm.
So it would make sense if you were in
Yeah,
a different.
it's all tried. That's how that we try to measure consciousness, and it still doesn't work.
They say even in just at the space station, time's different than here. So if you had
Mm.
twins, they would age differently.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've seen that.
it's nuts.
But after that, I was kind of looking for it. And it felt like if I like I would take the truck out in the field. She's got all these acres. And it felt like I could feel the old timey cattle present. Or maybe it
Hmm.
was just my imagination. Just from that experience, I just rolled with it. I was just but that's what that guy who was writing was saying. He's like, I need this confirmation. But that moment in the farmhouse was something else. It was
That sounds intense.
mm,
Yeah, I've never had any experiences like that.
hmm.
You ever looked into the Skywalker Ranch deal at all in Utah?
Yeah, but
I've been
refresh me.
watching.
I feel like I just read something about that.
What's like 520 some odd acres of land that just peculiar shit happens at constantly for like hundreds of years. And the story goes is two tribes were fighting with each other, and one cursed the other one on that land, and just I mean cattle mutilations, like UFO sightings, and but billionaires have bought this land and studied it, and that Bigelow Enterprises, you know, the guy who has the rockets. I don't know if he was like an entrepreneur, and he's gotten into space and all that stuff over the last 20 years or whatever. He owned it and studied it forever, and then recently someone else bought it. And like,
Reach, you're not talking about the Virgin guy.
no, that's a different
Okay.
one. His name's Bigelow.
Oh, his name is Bigelow. I thought the
His
company was
last name,
Bigelow.
yeah. But they found all kinds of crazy shit there. Radiation poisoning, like I don't know. We should look into that one for a show.
Mm,
That reminded me of you talking about that ranch.
yeah. And I love seeing that meme like goes around saying with all the shit that's gone wrong in America, it's almost like the whole country is built on ancient, like, sacred burial grounds.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Yeah,
It's nuts.
that's interesting too about the mummies and stuff. Because hair, even the Victorian era, that's how people would memorialize people, was with their hair. They'd make
Mm,
hair art, sculpture, however you
that's
call
got to
it.
be weird.
But your hair stays
Yeah.
unless you let it decompose into the earth. And it's almost like keeping something here. Or like Mexicans with their, I don't want to say it wrong, the ofrenda. I don't know how to make the tiniest R trill at the end or in the middle of the word anyway. But they put pictures in a display in Wheezy. And that allowed their ancestors to visit them on the Day of the Dead. It would be a big celebration where they're supposed to come over or what have you.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah, I
feel
know
like
that's a
they
whole.
are the spirits or whatever aren't around all the time, only when you need them.
Mm,
But then again, I don't know what it's like on the other side from this vantage point. So
no kidding.
who the hell knows?
Who the
People
hell
who've
knows
been
is right.
there, that lady was dead for a half an hour.
Yeah, that's
This
brutal.
other lady, let's check this out. So she's pregnant. She started having visions of her own hemorrhaging,
Hmm.
her own like hemorrhage session. And she's like, I'm gonna die. Like this, and she goes to her doctor. She's like, I keep seeing this shit. Like, I'm gonna bleed out and die when I have this baby.
Hmm.
And her doctor's like, you maybe go home and drink some chamomile, and like she was concerned, but more for her mental health than I mean, she did have preeclampsia or what have it, not preeclampsia, yes, where the the placenta detaches from the uterus, or it
Mm-hmm.
fuses to the uterus, but it could fuse blocking the baby in,
Mm-hmm.
and then going into labor when she would just she
Yeah,
would
they
just bleed
when
out.
that happens, they make you have your baby fast, typically.
Yes, C-section typically.
Mm-hmm. Oh
And
yeah.
but she went to her doctor about it. How lucky, because she died on the tonight. She died on the operating table. She like went hemorrhaging all of a sudden in her house,
Hmm.
and then drove her ass herself to the hospital, bleeding
Wow.
out.
Hmm.
And they tried to deliver the baby. They did deliver the baby, and then they jumped up on top of her and started CPR.
Wow.
And she was like, my vantage point at that point was so big, I could see my daughter in the living or in the waiting room. She saw her husband getting off the plane on his way to her.
Hmm.
She saw the person on top of her giving her CPR. She saw the doctor behind that holding her own face saying, I can't believe this is happening, because she
Wow.
called it.
Yeah.
And then when she was brought back to life, she drew out the OR. She told that doctor to her face what she heard her say. And that doctor then talks to the camera like, this has changed my whole life and worldview. I'm a scientist, I'm a doctor. And um I love that. I love
Yeah.
that she was able to have that kind of confirmation for such a profound experience.
Yeah. No
And then
kidding.
to hear her talk about how big she got.
And could see it all at once, almost.
Yeah.
Wow. That's intense.
Yeah, instantly you're there with your loved ones.
That's really intense.
This They talked about this guy too who was at a concert, and he looked down. He was up in the balcony or something. He looked down and saw his brother looking straight up at him. He's like, holy shit, let's go down there, my brother's here. Like he's in a different country even, or something, maybe state. They were
Hmm.
far apart.
Wow.
And then he goes down there and looks for him, couldn't find him. Turns out after the fact that was the date and the time that his brother died.
Oh wow. That's
But
intense.
he couldn't confirm that. He told the person he was with, like, I just saw my brother. Believable enough, they went down there to look for him.
Jesus. That's intense.
Incredible. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I don't know. I think we've covered that subject pretty well. I've actually enjoyed this talk.
Fucking could go on and on and on.
No, well, good. Then we have more episodes, right?
Yes.
Well,
Watch the show,
you
y'all.
should. With
I'm gonna try and
surviving
watch this.
death.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us this week. Hope you enjoyed the show. I know I did. My name's Patrick Dyer. That's Amanda Geezy. Go to aswcast.com. Check out my other show, Sofabab. It's at sofabab.com, and get your tarot down on Greenheart Tarot 333.
We got a guest next week,
We
too.
do have our first guest, so look forward to that, everyone. I know I am. That'll be fun. We'll talk to you guys soon.